since we are focusing on what he's learning at the end, do you think that we should allow many of the student to come automatically on his own, rather than it is like a putting a point of attendance?
I never took attendance in my life. I went through IIT Kanpur, they never took attendance out there. In Bombay, occasionally the dean would ask, like dean academic, what you are, your counterpart in the early days. I never took attendance. Once in a while, I just said, look, man, I have to give a report, so please bear with me, the students, and I sort of wrote it down, and then I extrapolated it. Okay. So I said, forget it. So I agree with you completely that the reason students are not coming to classroom is more complex. And attendance, they will come. So the body will be sitting out there, but the mind is somewhere else. And today there are so many devices by which my mind can easily be entertained by something. I don't have to listen to the professor just because I'm in the classroom. So this is, I must agree, even in IIT Bombay, not every professor agreed with me. Some of them were brilliant people. They were, in fact, they got better teaching evaluation than I got. They didn't agree with me. So it's a matter of debate. Some feel that, look, if you come to classroom, listen, you will definitely get a C. Okay. If you don't come, you'll end up with an F. Okay. So, but I think that we should not make attendance mandatory. The problem I would always feel when students didn't come to my class is that somewhere I am failing. That is, this is a grade for the teacher, that they don't find my classroom interesting. Occasionally, of course, there is an event on campus. And in the olden days, Mood Indigo used to be held during the semester time, and so they won't come. It's a different matter. They won't come. That's fine. But usually, if the attendance is not there in the classroom, it's a reflection on the teacher. The trouble is, we think as a professor, we are perfect. Yeah. We are not.
Right.
We are as valuable as the students out there. Right. So I think, you need to create this, and you'll see that if you create an experiential thing. A famous example is, you must have seen the videos of one Professor Levine, in physics department at MIT. He retired some time back. And he used to actually conduct experiments in the classroom.
Okay.
There's a big famous pendulum experiment as it rolls and comes back. Right. And he shows that he's standing, the pendulum comes here and goes. By a millimeter or centimeter.
So concentration will increase,
yes,
right?
Yeah. So his class, if the student registration was 200, he had 300 students in the class. Everybody from other classroom will come.
Will also come anytime.
Because he made the class was an experience.
Right.
It was not like the equation on the chalkboard and then, okay, what is the question? Did you understand this proof? He actually did all kinds of experiments right then and there. And so he used to tell, he says, I'm performing. So it was like a theater. And he says, I repeat these experiments at least 3 to 4 times before coming to the classroom.
Okay.
So there are no mishaps and all. Things work out smoothly because I don't have that full time.
Right.
One of the most popular teachers, in physics, I think probably US ever had. And his lectures were so popular. Okay, when he retired also, there was even a bigger attendance because they thought it's a farewell lecture.
Okay.
So Levine is very well known. You just you go on YouTube and look at lectures by Levine and you'll see. I think maybe our physics colleagues like Prem and Sakit would have seen them already.
Sure.
So I think that's the thing we need to create, an experience. Then exams and all becomes superfluous.
Right. So on the same line, sir, there are few faculty members, and in the institute, the people started thinking about a problem, and then students are involved to make things, and they even go to the market, identify what I have to buy.
Right.
So that way, that particular exercise, and they come. So these all initiatives were done under Bharati and build projects in IITH. Now, one of my colleague, Professor Karthik, he built 3D printed wind tunnel. So when he was teaching hypersonic flow and supersonic flow with the light and the fan, he will demonstrate right in the class that how deflecting, like if you put an obstacle, how the wind is deflecting. Awesome,
So this is exactly what this requires a lot of hard work, and it is the preparation time and the effort is 10 times more than preparing a traditional lecture. Okay, so but this is something which students will enjoy. So I would assume Karthik probably never had attendance problem. If this is how he's teaching,
yes,
he would not have attendance because they'll come and see, hey let's go. It's like watching a movie. I want to see this experiment.
Exactly.
So I must compliment Karthik for doing that. I mean, it's very similar to what Levine had been doing, and I think we need to enhance that and have similar. I'm not saying identical, but similar kind of ideas in other courses. Now, all courses you can't do that. If you're teaching some basic math, okay, obviously you can't create this sort of experiments and things. But there are ways of making it more interesting. I'll give another example again from MIT. MIT professors have always been at the forefront of education. So the professor called Alan Oppenheim I mentioned. Okay, so once he had come to India many years ago, and while giving a lecture, he performed a couple of magic tricks.
Okay.
Like he had some announcement from the newspaper, he read it out, and then he tore it off. And then suddenly, after about 7 minutes or 6 minutes, I need to go back to it. And boom, he pulls out that paper again. So at lunch, I asked him, I said, when did you learn magic tricks? He says, even at MIT, the students don't come to class. If they do come to class, they are dozing off. Dozing off meaning they're not paying attention. So he says one summer, he went and learned a large number of magic tricks.
Oh, wow.
So what he does is, he says every 10, 12, 15 minutes, I use one magic trick to break the monotony of the lecture and wake up the students. And he's considered to be one of the best teachers at MIT. So I'm not talking of a teacher he doesn't need this. In spite of that, he went and learned this, and he performed in that 1 hour lecture, I think 3 such magic tricks.
Okay.
So all of us also woke up. Suddenly something he does,
Perhaps we should also go.
These are sort of stray examples.
Yes.
The purpose of this example is to say
bring attention, right?
Experiment.
Okay.
See, in India, we are scared to experiment. We want to travel a path which is well traveled. US professors, both in research and others, they will take a risk. Now, this is something which can even flop, right? This magic thing. It worked.
Yes.
But otherwise it may not work. But they are willing to accept that failure. If we fail, we think that we're dead. That cannot be the case. Because nobody has a perfect answer in many of these solutions, in many of these situations.
Right.
And the answers keep evolving, and the answer which is good today, now the magic trick that he did that 15 years ago, 20 years ago when he came to India, may not work today. Okay, today something else has to be thought. So you cannot say that, okay, I will learn magic now and do same thing as Alan Oppenheim. I don't know. So you have to experiment. Any new idea that comes, try it out. Who's stopping you? Why are you afraid of experimenting?
Right.
That is the key message I want to get across by giving these examples. MIT gave him the freedom to experiment. Nobody questioned him, why are you wasting time in the lecture by doing magic tricks? You are not hired for that. In fact, they were very happy. The students are happy. Everybody is happy. They let it be. IITs also have a similar freedom. So you should experiment. If it doesn't work, don't do it. If it works, improve on it. Continue and improve on it.
Right. In fact, I would say that nowadays, after you finish writing, the student take a snap and put it into ChatGPT or Gemini, and you will have a much better notes coming out of it.
That's always
so no need to write now.
Exactly. So not required.
So you also mentioned, sir, about in every course, such kind of things may not work out. And if it has to be adopted, even if the courses which require such kind of demonstration, or I would say the teaching innovation, so can it be the 100%, or like one has to decide that what should be the percentage where such kind of things should be brought in?
See, I would say 2 things. One is make it free. Let the faculty decide. One should not have a system where somebody at the top tells you do 30% of this, 20%. That doesn't make any sense. See, we are all PhDs. You are hired because you have gone through that thing. You have a certain intellectual capabilities because of which you are a professor at IIT. The decision is yours.
Okay.
You want 10%, you want 70%, that is your call.
Right.
One should debate, discuss, eventually leave it to the faculty. B, and I keep repeating this very, very often, don't forget R&D. Teaching is important, because in principle, and again US is a great example, the R&D that you do drives your teaching. We'll find many a time people who are great researchers are also great teachers. Of course, there are some who are great teachers, no doubt, they are only teaching. But by and large, because the new thing that you do next day try to teach it in your class.
Exactly.
Suppose you develop a new algorithm in something or a new thing that you have developed, tomorrow you'll say, hey, let me teach them.
Right.
Because I think this is really hot off the press kind of thing. So I think research should not be forgotten. In my opinion, research and teaching are not exclusive.
Okay.
They are, in my opinion, almost
Complementary.
very complementary, intersecting 80%,
Right.
if not 100%.
Right.
Okay, because and sometimes what you find when you do a great job of teaching, you will get questions from the students which will help you in your research.
Right.
Students' questions will come because we tend to sort of get focused. They say, why not this way?
Right.
If you give them the freedom, and that will suddenly trigger, hey, I can do this topic.
Yes,
It will help.
yes.
So I think it's both have to be taken into account, and the percentages, let the faculty decide. And there is, if some faculty say 10%, it's okay. Some 90%, it's okay. Accept both.
Yeah. So let's say if you are teaching a theoretical course,
Right.
signal processing,
Yeah.
for example, and you have to take an exam using open book,
Yes.
open AI.
Yeah.
So what would be your
No, I have
way
done
of
that.
doing?
In fact, that in my time AI was not there, but I used to have open book exam. I tried open notes exam. Open book. I had take home exams also. In the US, I tried that. In India, I didn't.
Right.
In India, unfortunately, we copy too much. So sometimes these take home exams don't work. US is much less. So take home exams work. So I used to give them 1 week. Here is the exam paper,
Right.
collected.
Right.
They collect on Monday morning. By Friday before 5 p.m. you submit your answers. I mean, my teachers also in US had given that.
Right.
So then you have to setting those papers is very hard
Right.
because they have access to library, they have access to everything. Okay, and you want to set questions where it makes them think.
Yes.
So I would say that those modes of examinations are better. The difficulty with those modes is that it works well in a smaller classroom. So if you're teaching an advanced graduate level, postgraduate course, this works well.
Okay.
When an undergraduate class, whatever, like I'm just saying in your area or in my area, like signal processing. Signal processing is now taken by large number of students.
Yes.
At least in my time when I was here, I think we had a fractal course on signals and communication or something in the first year, which was taken even by civil engineers, mechanical engineers and others also.
Okay.
I think Sumona used to teach that because that course was the basics.
Okay.
So and everybody uses signal processing. So a civil engineer is not interested in the proof of the FFT, but interested in what is FFT, how it can be used,
Right.
what results it gives, how do I interpret it.
Right.
While the proof and all is more interesting to a double E. Okay. So we had broken it up into fractal, where the first part and a large number of students outside electrical engineering and computer science also took that class.
Right.
So I think that's something we need to create.
Right.
That's why one of the other advantage of fractal, that it becomes exposure is there to a large number of population rather than that core population. Okay. So in that sense, one has to think about it.
Yeah.
Yes,
So if I just earlier the open book used to be like when I can access the books, but now it is everything is there.
So your exams have to be such that they think.
Ah.
They think of a solution. Of course, they may get an answer from AI. So be
Yes.
it.
Yes.
But you
Yes.
give, your exams in some sense may turn out to be semi-research problems. It's like when a PhD student comes to you, how does the PhD student start? She
Right.
will probably chat with her, then you say, okay, go read the literature,
Right.
go think.
Right.
And then she'll come and say that, okay, this is a problem. You say, yeah, but this problem, it's already been solved by so-and-so.
Yeah.
Let's look at something else or modify it.
Right.
So the first, I would say about 6 months go in formulating the problem. And then also the problem statement keeps changing because you can't fix a problem statement and say that this is what you do for the next 4 years.
Right.
Because suddenly things happen, things change, you evolve accordingly.
Right.
So your exam papers will become like a mini exploration problem. Let's not call it research. So the questions have to be exploratory in nature rather than a mechanical. Otherwise, what was the old question? I give a RLC circuit,
Right.
a very complicated one,
Yeah.
and say, okay, here is a voltage source, here is a current source, etc. Here are the things. Find the current and voltage in this component out here.
That is not valid anymore.
No. This ChatGPT will give you answer
give
much
you
faster than
1
anybody
second.
can. So why waste it?
Yes.
So I mean, and students don't like that. They are not really learning all that much, except that it's the mechanics is what they are learning
Yes,
of,
yes.
sort of going through the process.
Right.
So the question should be exploratory. It's hard. It's not easy. And every semester or every year to come up with exploratory questions, in that is difficult. See, the olden days when these computers, internet was not there, typically we had a bank of questions. and we would recycle it. I mean, mix and match,
Yes.
and modify a little bit here and there, modify the numbers. So they, even if they solve last 5 years question papers, they can't quite solve it. There'll be some modification. But today that doesn't work.
Right.
With this sort of tools that are available to you. So it's a hard problem, in fact, to set an exam paper.
Right.
So I go back to my earlier thing. Get away from exams. Think of a system which does not require exams. Then you don't have this burden.
Right. So, sir, other than the exam, we also have these assignments, right? Now, I'll tell you one incident. In my vehicle dynamics course, I gave first assignment, and many students submitted copy. There was also a problem was write a MATLAB code for some problem. So, a student submits only the code.
Yeah.
Then I asked how I will analyze. Figure is not there. He said, this is what ChatGPT gave me. But I should appreciate that he told.
Yeah. No,
That has actually started my interest.
Wonderful. Yeah.
And what I told them, okay, in this 20 person class, 4 groups, and you take different varieties now. You have to do addendum of the assignment now. That unicycle, bicycle, triple, four-wheeler, and like, and each, now I'm telling you the prompt, like go and do literature review, find best free body diagram. Based on that, get the equation from the diagram. Then sir, after that, run the code, write a MATLAB code. Sir, it will not give result. Then you run it. And from the result, you analyze using ChatGPT and also conclude and reference.
Yeah.
And I told all this, you have to do it within 1 hour. And whatever is being done, you show it to me. It was voluntary work. Out of these groups, 2 submitted a report which was awesome. There's this.
No, I think this is the way to go about it. And I think we need to do more of it, because that's how, modifications you have made look very good now. For 2-3 years it will work. Then suddenly you'll find that
it has to evolve.
So I think that evolution has to be built in, because what is happening is earlier we could get away because it was content delivery. So evolution was small.
Yes.
We evolve like every 10 years, something. But now things are changing. People were comfortable with ChatGPT and Gemini, and Claude comes in and changes everything.
Yeah.
Apparently it can do,
and
things
that's
much
what
more
is
powerful.
happening.
Now Anthropic may do something more. Tomorrow something else will come.
Yes.
So the evolution in this technological world is so fast that as educator, how are you going to keep up with it?
Okay.
I think that is one big message I want to get across. So I really appreciate and I admire what you just described in terms of how you reformulated, and that too based on the student feedback, because you found, hey man, this is what is happening, now I'm going to change completely.
Right.
That is what I meant when I said earlier that when you have your meetings and brainstorming, involve students.
Yes.
Because that is something
they will
tell
do,
you.
and we will get feedback.
See, they know how to work around it.
Yes.
We will not know. So they will tell you, sir, if you do this, I will do this. And then you say, aha, you shouldn't do this particular part.
Yeah. So, sir, doing this, what you call as the USP of future education? Whether it will be portfolio based or discipline, or it will be a skill based or degree?
No, it's none of it. I think it's an experience.
Okay.
See, 4 years, as I said earlier, of education, okay, what is it that you really get? A kid comes in at 17 or 18 typically, maybe sometime 19, okay, and 4 years later they go out. Assuming they are reasonably, in IIT we are fortunate, all students are by and large very good. Okay, so we don't have that particular thing. It's the 4 years of experience of spending time out here. IIT system is such that you are independent, you are not staying at home. So you learn how to live your life, you learn to make decisions. There is nobody at home, your mother waking you up at 6 a.m. in the morning or 7 a.m. saying, you have to go to school at, school is at 8:30, get up, brush your teeth, etc., etc. Okay. And nobody is there to prepare something, then give it to you. You have to make all those decisions. Washing your clothes, you have to decide. Otherwise, suddenly one day you find. So there are lots of these experiences that you go through and you learn tremendously. So in my opinion, it is an experience. So what you need to do is create an ecosystem on a campus, which is an experiential ecosystem. Okay. Not simply learning, how to write free body diagrams, or in my case, how to solve signal processing problems. That is part of it. But the overall thing which gives them multitude of experiences, sports, culture, then experimentation, labs, playing in the labs. I think labs will now play a much bigger role than classrooms.
Yes.
I envisage that in time to come, if we had a situation where there were 50 labs, and 100 classrooms, the situation will become the other way around. There will be 50 classrooms and 100 labs. Labs is where they will spend more and more time right from the beginning.
Right.
Normally, the labs became dominant only in third year or second year and things like that. Now, labs will become more and more dominant. So, I would say that focus should be to develop more and more labs.
Yeah, yes.
Because labs give me an experience. Classroom is where I sit and listen.
Yes, yes.
So, classroom has that kind of a notion of being a passive participant.
Yeah.
Lab has a notion of being an active participant.
Yeah.
So you need to create this ecosystem, and not just academics, I think everything else. Go out in the field, some of the things that we were talking about before the podcast, I think those sort of things are very important, going out, interacting with, I'm not saying industry only, that is one component,
Society.
but neighboring villages,
Yes,
how kids are learning out there. Even the experience of teaching those kids in a neighboring village school is actually teaching you something. You are learning in the process. It's not simply you are teaching them. Obviously, that's the most obvious outcome.
Right.
But there is a implicit outcome where when you come back, you are a better human being, a more mature human being than you walked in.
Right.
And I think what IITs need to do is to ask oneself that are we creating that ecosystem? Don't get obsessed with curriculum.
Yeah, yeah.
Nobody remembers.
Because-
How many of us, as a professor,
Right.
I remember some of it because I teach that. But when I look at my batchmates and my colleagues, from senior, junior, etc., who went into other walk of life, didn't become a professor, this doesn't really matter much.
Right.
It's a very small component of their life later on. And somehow we get so obsessed with curriculum as being the paramount component and everything is judged on that. I think we need to look at a much holistic and a much more, I think that is what this 4 years of education is.
Yes.
It is not, and it's nice to have a degree. Degree is simply saying that you spend 4 years and you were happy with those 4 years, and I was also happy with those 4 years. Therefore, I'm giving you a degree.
Yes,
Both sides are happy.
Right.
Okay, that's just a testimony, a kind of testimony to say that we were all happy and things went well. So let's depart with a nice certificate or piece of paper that we are happy to give you. You are happy to receive it.
Yeah. So, sir, as you mentioned, we should look for the experiential classroom. So, in fact, again, during one of the meeting, Ranjit mentioned that in the class, let us try to think about a classroom which is good for chemistry, chemical engineering, where the models, molecules and all those things can be kept. Similarly for physics, engineering and all that. So, and the tinkering lab is another.
Correct.
Every departments are thinking of getting one. Few of them have already established it.
Wonderful.
So that is something that we have.
So I would say, see, we started this thing called collaborative classroom. I was not able to implement it fully. There was one classroom, I think, in academic block C that we had started, where the idea was most classrooms are rows and columns. As opposed to that, we said classrooms will have basically round tables. So we had elliptic tables because that way they could face the teacher a little better. And there'll be like 6 or 8 students sitting around it. And it's a discussion room. So what Ranjit is saying that each table could have various models and other things like in his domain, and they can play with it, the molecular structure, you modify it. So, it requires investment of both money and time. So I think that is the way to go. I don't know whether collaborative classrooms had gone any further after I left. I don't have any idea.
So I'm sorry.
But we started that. In fact, the furniture and all was designed by Deepak. He said we'll do it this way. Some inputs came also from Christopher Benninger, who had designed some of our lecture hall complex and other things. And the idea was this will obviously not be appropriate for, I think it can be, but it's a harder thing when you have a class of 300 students. But when you have a class of 30, 40, 50 students, so you have 6 groups, each group of say 8 people, 48 students. And then you can manage. And each group is like, so the whole class is you talk about a problem, they are working on it, they make a short presentation, then again you talk of something else, So, and they're discussing among themselves. So classroom is, there is a lot of noise going on. It is not like, hey, keep quiet. That area is gone. No keeping quiet.
Right. So, in fact, in future it may happen. We are taking classes in the lab rather than the classroom.
It will happen.
Right?
It will be very different.
Sir, you established India's first AI department in engineering, and also you started the first BTech program in India, third in the world. Many thanks, and that tag we are still. So the thing is, AI has also percolated into other department in a big way. What is the significance of AI department as a separate department now?
So if you look at it, first of all, I didn't start that department. I think we started it.
Yeah.
So it's a collective effort.
Yeah.
Because no director can start that. It has to be, the faculty have to buy into that particular thing. And even the ideas came from various sources. There were some faculty also who were talking about it. So initially the idea was we'll start a minor. Then I think remember some faculty saying that, why not minor? Why don't we go all the way? Why necessarily take baby steps? And I said, hey, that is true with the philosophy that we have been following. That let us leapfrog rather than walk, or crawl, walk, run, etc., etc. Said, okay, let's leapfrog and just start a BTech in AI. There were some faculty who were supportive. There were some who were apprehensive that this may not work, this problem. Some who were downright opposing it also. I remember getting upset at one faculty. But afterward, later on, 2-3 years after that, he came and apologized to me because then it became a success. He said, you were right and I was wrong. There was no need for him to do that, I think, because part of an academic discussion is that you will have people who will agree, who will marginally agree, and who will vehemently disagree. If that is not there, then there is no discussion. Then if everybody is just nodding their head, then nothing new is going to come out. New comes out when then there is a confrontation of ideas, not confluence, but there has to be a confrontation of ideas. Then something new will evolve. Otherwise, it's the same thing, nicely merging it, nothing new will come. So I was happy with that. So I have nothing, no ill feeling at all, zero. Okay. The only thing is that we were the first to start it, but we didn't leverage that head start. Today, if you look at it, the AI department, there is an AI mission. I don't know how actively we are part of it. We should have been one of the active participants.
So in recent AI Impact Summit, so our department, AI department was actively part of it. So good. That way it is.
So, but I think what happened was the moment we did it, then all the older IITs started something.
Immediately.
They realized it a year or two later. So they didn't have a BTech program, but they started something like an MTech program or a center for AI, etc., etc. But some entity on campus was established roughly a year or two after we started the BTech program. But I think we need to do a lot more now. We got some infrastructure like DGXs at that time. By now they're obsolete. This was like 2019, 26. I think technology in that domain becomes obsolete very quickly. Maybe.
So recently we have Dean Digital Transformation.
That is okay.
And
the Dean is okay.
Many facilities related with
you have to get some of the latest AI machines.
Okay.
You have to invest.
That is the key.
You have to get them. There is no way out of it. See, those GGXs we got now, they are passé.
Okay.
Because the GPU has evolved so much in the last 7 years. Say roughly 7 years have gone by.
Right.
This August it will be 7 years, 2019, 2026. 7 years the GPU technology has changed phenomenally. 7 years ago probably it was, I don't remember, maybe 12 nanometers. Now we're talking of 2 nanometers.
Yes.
Maybe less than 2. So
right.
I mean you can see
within the same space. In fact, more.
Exactly. So things have changed. They've become very powerful, very complex. I think we need to really invest money and upgrade it. I don't know what the financial situation is, but unless you upgrade, and students also will think, Purana, I mean, this is the old stuff. What's the big thing? I'm not enjoying it. Excitement is there when you have something new. All of us, when a new laptop comes, I'm excited. 3 years later, excitement is less. So that's human nature. So you need to upgrade your AI infrastructure. Particularly not just access to chat GPT and all, that is minor. That anybody can do, and the small sum of money.
That is just the sparking the interest, right?
But for students to really look at foundational models, implement those foundational models, play with the foundational models, modify them. Students can easily develop SLMs, as they call it, small language models. Large language models is going to be very tough for academic institutions to do it. Only large companies will be able to do it because the resources required are super duper. We just don't have it, and data that is required. Google has all the data. You don't have access to that kind of data. But SLMs you can do, and that kind of data you can manage, or even one level below SLMs if you wish. One can even have, maybe mini LMs, not just small. You can be even below. But that experience, even to do a mini LM, you will need very strong
Good.
infrastructure
Yes.
on campus.
Yes.
Otherwise, it's very expensive. You have to rent AWS or whatever, and that's not cheap.
So the other way is, rather than focusing on faculty's strength and all, we should focus on the related infrastructure.
Yes,
right?
yes, you must.
Because that will play a major role.
Exactly.
Because one person can play a lot of.
Yeah. So
right?
that infrastructure, and that infrastructure is not simply the purview of CS, because that infrastructure can be used by, as you correctly said, AI is no longer now computer science. Yes, the foundational work will be done by CS.
Right.
But as far as the application of AI is concerned, the use of AI is concerned, and even certain modifications, innovations are concerned, that will be done by civil, mechanical, chemical, material science, metallurgy,
Chemical.
mechanical, everybody will do it.
Yes.
Economics.
Right.
Social science people will use it. It's not simply engineers. So I would say, but for that you need some strong infrastructure in-house,
Right.
which is updated regularly with free access, and you play with it.
Yes.
See,
Yes.
the key thing that I saw in the US, and I'll give a simple example here. I went there and in 74, I think in 75 I took a course on mini computers. There was a PDP 11. Okay, and my TA actually developed a game on it, on a PDP 11. We should manually flick switches.
Okay.
I remember playing with him. Of course, he always won since he had developed. The same kind of a thing. Rockets are there. You have fixed fuel. Then you go and refuel it, etc., etc. You do all that. Now, the professor let him develop that game.
Yeah.
I remember many times we would be playing the game. Hendrik Martin, who was a professor, would walk in. He will look at us, and say, "Oh, okay, what is that happening?" Then he never said that, no, how come we are using campus resource for making video games? Nothing like that.
Right.
The TA was brilliant at it. I just played and learned few things from him, but he was really, what you see in movies, actually that was happening in a campus. This is not Stanford or MIT. I went there in master's at Buffalo. Buffalo gave that kind of freedom. The professors didn't mind it. They felt, because nobody is using the machine at that time, this guy is using it. Well and good, he's doing something interesting.
Yes.
So I think we need to create infrastructure in all spheres of engineering and technology where students have a chance to play. My feeling is then, time to come, every lab will be a tinkering lab.
Yes.
It's not that we have one tinkering lab here, one
yeah.
tinkering lab there, but every lab has to be a tinkering lab
Right.
where students have. And I must compliment IIT Kanpur on that. In the early days, IIT Kanpur did that. We were allowed to do whatever we want.
Okay.
I don't know how much time I left.
Still
Okay.
there,
So
sir.
two examples I'll give.
Yeah.
In our case, we used to listen to Beatles. So what he did was he took a normal guitar and converted it into an electric guitar.
Okay.
We are talking of now time frame of 72, 73 at that time. Electric guitars were rare in India. So he had his own thing and he converted that. It's simple. You have to take a magnet, do a lot of winding, do some connections. And you plug it in, you see the signals.
Right,
And when he was playing, we were watching things on the oscilloscope.
Right.
Oscilloscope is a tiny little screen, not like this one.
Yeah.
Now that is the freedom they gave. So literally we were tinkering. And the professors allowed us to tinker.
Yeah.
We had 24/7 access to the lab. All components were from the lab. We didn't have money to buy those components.
Right.
Yeah. There was another guy who developed the Bose 901 speaker system, which was so expensive. He says, I'll develop in the lab. And he did that. So I think Kanpur those days gave that freedom. You tinker in the lab and they didn't mind it. I think we need to bring back.
Right.
I think I don't know how things are in IIT Kanpur. I have to go back and check.
Right. So, sir, it was all AI evolution
Yeah.
that we talked extensively.